Everyone, hello and welcome in. I am wearing the Minnesota Timberwolves hat today in solidarity with Anthony Edwards for not winning the NBA Rookie of the Year award. That, of course, went to LaMelo Ball. And we're 0 for 2 in Rookie of the Year awards so far, with Justin Jefferson losing to Justin Herbert and Anthony Edwards losing out to LaMelo Ball. I swear to God, if Kirill Kaprizov does not win the Calder Trophy, we're going to have problems because I can't go 0 for 3. This is ridiculous. Like, we have some of the best young talent in Minnesota sports, and what the hell, right? It is what it is, I guess. I mean, congratulations to the guys that won, but feeling a little snubbed today. Anyway, that aside out of the way, today is also the end of the final 3-day mandatory minicamp, and the final day has been canceled by Mike Zimmer, which is something he's done before. Usually when he sees good things and sees what he likes, he tends to cancel the last day. This isn't something that's new. So we will not have the final day of mandatory minicamp. And as a way to close the book on this portion of the off season, what I'd like to do now is have a discussion with you, and I'm going to share with you a top 5 list that I've made here. And this list is the top 5 players that must have a big season in 2021 in order for the Minnesota Vikings to have success. I've identified 5 individual players, some offense, some defense, that I believe, going over the roster, given the changes that have happened this offseason and what lies ahead for this regular season, this is a list of guys that either need to perform better, they need to exceed expectations, or they need a course correct. They've been having a down year or two, and they need to find what made them great years ago. So there's definitely a wide variety of players on this list, and I'm going to share this with you. You can agree or disagree with me in the comments, and also leave in the comments if there's somebody that I left off that you believe is also significant for a discussion like this that needs to have a big season in 2021. I will spoil one thing for you. I did not put Kirk Cousins on here because I figure the quarterback is kind of a giveaway. Of course the quarterback needs to have a big season. These are all different, some offense, some defense, but I don't think, quarterback, I think if you were to include that would be number 1 on your list, so I left it off. So if you want to mention Kirk Cousins, go ahead and do that. I'm not going to. I'm going to save that spot for a different player. All right, so anyway, we're going to do this in reverse order. I'm going to start with number 5. The number 5 player that I believe needs to have a big season in 2021 is Garrett Bradbury, the center of the offensive line. We're going to start there. He's consistent in that he doesn't get hurt. He is proved he has some durability. The problem has been that he gets overpowered too often, and he looks for help from the guard positions way too often. And what makes that difficult in terms of being a good center is that the guards that he has had have not been great. So, Drew Samia, Dakota Dozier, Ezra Cleveland did an okay job, but really he was playing out of position during his rookie year. Hopefully he was able to, learn and grow in that position, and he'll have a better year for that this upcoming season, now that he knows that that's what he's going to be doing for sure. But Garrett Bradbury, being a first-round pick, coming into the league, it was a sign, I think, that we all took as, hey, the Vikings are addressing the offensive line. This is good, spending first-round draft capital. But, I mean, really, was he even the best center in the draft class that year? I probably would have taken Elgton Jenkins, who was from one of the Mississippi schools, I believe Ole Miss. But that is neither here nor there. What's done is done. We have Garrett Bradbury, and he needs to get better. It's just bottom line. There's no real analysis that I can give you from an offensive line coaching perspective, because he just needs to do better. And I think what happens is, if he does better, then the rest of the players around him will improve as well. He will be leaning on his guards less and relying on them less and less as he improves his game. So number 5 for me is Garrett Bradbury. Moving on to number 4 on the list of players that need to have a big season in 2021 for me, that is going to be Cam Dantzler, the cornerback, who started as a rookie last year. There's durability concerns with him. He was inactive for 5 games the previous season. He was a little bit, he's a little bit more on the smaller side when it comes to corners. Is he the future at the cornerback position? That's the big question that I want answered, and that's the question that he can answer this season, is if he has a big year in 2021, because you look at the landscape for the secondary for this team right now, right? You have 2-year contract, 1-year contract, 1-year contract. Jeff Gladney, with what the hell is going to happen with him? We have no idea what his future is, even for, the next few months. So, to avoid a situation where we go through another complete overhaul of the secondary, right? It feels like we've done that 2 years in a row now. with the previous season being the younger guys, bringing them in, Jeff Gladney, Cam Dantzler, some inexperienced players to back them up. And then this year we're like, okay, that didn't work. Let's go with the veterans, Brashad Breeland, Patrick Peterson. I need Cam Dantzler, at least for me, I need Cam Dantzler to have a big season this year because I want to know, is he going to be around for the long haul? Because, we don't want to have that situation that I just described where we're looking for new starters for 2022. So I think Cam Dantzler needs to cement his role this year, have a big productive season, good sophomore year, and I think he'll get that with the fact that they have brought in some veterans that can offer him some very, very lucrative tutelage, if I could put it that way. Moving on to number 3 on my list here of top 5 players that need to have a big season in 2021. Michael Pierce didn't play last year. He was an opt-out for 2020, signed a 3-year free agent contract before that all happened. And I include him this high on the list for one reason. It's because last year, what were a lot of the complaints that we had, at least for the first half of the season, maybe the entirety of it, when we had no pass rush and our defensive line was poor, everybody's like, well, we don't have Michael Pierce. We don't have Danielle Hunter. You got those guys now. Danielle Hunter's not on this list because I expect him to have a big season because he's Danielle Hunter. Michael Pierce, in my opinion, unproven commodity, at least from the point of view of what he brings to the table for the Minnesota Vikings. We could look back at his career where he's played elsewhere and be like, okay, yeah, that's Michael Pierce, but what is he with the Vikings and what can he do with this team? Because it feels like we kind of hyped him up last year where it's like, okay, next year we'll get Pierce back like some kind of savior. I don't want to put, that big of a word on it, but it feels like we kind of did that to ourselves, right? Like we've jettisoned expectations up for the defensive line with just the return of Michael Pierce alone. And of course, Danielle Hunter as part of that for having missed the 2020 season. But how much of that is, or should we be managing our expectations with, Michael Pierce? I expect him to do well at the nose tackle position. I expect this run defense to improve, but I want to see it on the field because next year he is due to make almost $8 million, I believe. He's going to make 3 this year, so he's going to go from 3 to 8 in one season. And the third day of the league year next season, he has some guarantees kicked in. So this year is going to be, I think, make or break to figure out what they're going to do with the nose tackle position going forward with Michael Pierce. Number 2 on my top 5 players that must have a big season in 2021. I'm going to go with Patrick Peterson for the simple fact that the last couple years with the Arizona Cardinals, we have seen obvious decline. It's not something that we can sugarcoat. We have to have an honest conversation about it. He's not the elite player that he used to be. He may be past his prime. Now, of course, I hope he comes out and proves me wrong and that he still is that elite player from years ago. But what version of him are we going to get? Are we going to get the version from a couple years ago that was the, CB1 top tier elite lockdown corner? Or are we going to get the guy last year who just committed so many penalties because he couldn't keep up anymore? And that concerns me as well, because I would rather the outside corners, whoever they are, as the starting 2 anyway, be able to commit to their roles so that we don't have to rely on Harrison Smith and Xavier Woods, the 2 safeties, helping them out as much as Anthony Harrison Smith had to do last year. That sort of, infringed on what kind of style of play that they are capable of because they had to help out the corners because they were so inexperienced. Now, Patrick Peterson is not inexperienced, but there is, the question of whether or not he still is capable of keeping up with receivers at this point in his career. So Patrick Peterson, for me, got to have a big year this year to prove the naysayers wrong. And I don't want to be in that situation at the end of the year. It's like, well, it's a 2-year contract. That didn't work out. Now what do we do? So he's number 2 on my list. Number 1, the number 1 player on my top 5 players list that must have a big season in 2021, I'm going to go with Irv Smith, the new starting tight end for the Minnesota Vikings this year, with the departure of long-tenured Vikings veteran Kyle Rudolph, who is now gone. He takes over, and I think he's more than capable of doing it. I still remember back to the inside video, like inside the draft, where the Vikings were actually making the selection, where they took Irv Smith, and Rick Spielman said, we need another playmaker. Let's get Irv Smith on the phone. And I want the Vikings to utilize their tight ends more, because even with the loss of a veteran like Kyle Rudolph, who was also one of those players that's sort of on the decline. They asked him to do less and less. They asked him to do more blocking than anything, and he clearly was not happy with that. But, you know, we're in this transition period where we have a new starter, Irv Smith Jr. Conklin, I don't know what to expect out of him this year. I want to manage expectations with him. I did like what I saw at the end of last year. Let's hopefully he can, you know, replicate that. But Irv Smith is walking into a big role. He's assuming tight end one duties. He's going to have plenty of opportunity, given the fact that there is no real clear-cut wide receiver 3 with this passing offensive group. And I think that that's intentional, because they could see a guy like Irv Smith be like, well, yeah, he's a tight end, but he could be our, you know, our sort of slash wide receiver 3 guy. Why do we need to invest in a D.D. Westbrook or somebody else out there that might be open on the free agent market still at this point in time? So Irv Smith, for me, will have a big role this season, and I'd like to see him be successful in that role. Will he be like a George Kittle or, you know, a Travis Kelce? Probably not. But I'd like to see some top 10 tight end play out of Irv Smith Jr. this year. So that is my list. That is my top 5 players that must have a big season in 2021. Just to recap, from 5 to 1 is Garrett Bradbury, Cam Dantzler, Michael Pierce, Patrick Peterson, and Irv Smith Jr. That is my list. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And is there anybody I left off, other than Kirk Cousins, of course, that you think would be a prime candidate that is in this category of must-have big season in order for the Vikings to be successful in 2021? So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.